Sorry, my last video it was kind of shitty, but oh well. But anyways, wanted to give you what I thought about this, and it's a really good controller. It really is. Good night. And yeah, I really do like this, the way it feels and everything, and especially what they did with the triggers. I don't have a PlayStation 3 controller, mainly because I don't have a PlayStation 3. But I have seen them. I've actually used the PlayStation 3 controller once, and this is an improvement. I don't know if you can see this. But I do kind of have a thumb problem, so I'm doing this with one hand. But my thumbs do reach over, but then again, I've got mutant type of thumbs here. But I mostly just go like this, though, so I don't have any problems. As for the speakers, well, it's actually pretty good. I do have a kind of complaint about this micro USB tech. Mainly, I'm not a big fan of it. But the speakers are nice. They, even though I can't use it yet, along with this touchpad, are just nice and smooth, though. Really smooth. Odd place to put the share button. It's kind of hard to reach. And I don't have a 360 to compare this as well, because you all know how I feel about Microsoft. And no matter how many comments you put under YouTube, I still ain't going to give a flying fuck about Microsoft. But I do have one complaint. It's a minor complaint, nitpick, and that's the shoulder button right here. I never really liked any of these shoulder buttons. And yeah, this is an old PS2 controller. And it's pretty much the same type of deal on the shoulder button. It's the one thing they didn't change. And with the PlayStation 3, it has the same kind of trigger, which it was stupid, except that they just took the flap off right here. And essentially, and just changed one or two things, but it's essentially the same controller. Except for one thing. The PlayStation 3's buttons were cheaper. And these just feel much more nicer on the PlayStation 2. Because they're the exact same buttons on the PlayStation 4. They went back to their old button, to the older buttons that were on their PlayStation 2 and put it on their 4. Because that's what everybody liked. Now these are bigger than these. As well as on the PlayStation 3. So yeah, these buttons are bigger and more better. It was a weird choice. But yeah, this controller altogether is really nice. I love the trigger buttons. I'm just glad they're better. Oh, a lot more better. And people say, this thing is bigger and a lot more nicer. Of course, it still couldn't explain why everybody bitches and yell about this, Wii U Pro controller, which, by the way, is a fucking monster, according to this. If you loop them together, the Wii U Pro controller, I don't know if you can see this, they're both black. The Wii U controller is a fucking beast to this thing. I mean, it's just huge. And of course, these top things are just, a lot more wider, and there's just no way my thumbs can touch each other at all. And the reason why they went with this wasn't because they wanted to put the trackpads on here. I mean, put these trackpads. Well, you know what I mean. The sticks up here. They did it because they wanted down here to be like the Super NES controller, with the button configuration that pretty much all controllers, including the Xbox controllers, now follow. Yeah, the button configurations has been followed by just about every company, including Microsoft and Sony, for years. Yet people are complaining about how hard it is to use these buttons when these buttons have been around since, the Super NES. Of course, this D-pad I'll admit, it's nicer than this one. Even though I'll admit that this D-pad is pretty nice. It's a really nice D-pad. I'd still give it to the Nintendo's Wii U, though. That's because Nintendo just really knows their D-pads. They just do. I don't know about the Xbox One because nobody even has that. Or the Xbox 360, which I've had used. I don't have that type of controller around here. But it's a nice controller. I can't believe it. Yeah, it is a nice controller. Even though this is shaped exactly like the Xbox 360. And the triggers on the Wii U Pro controller is just shit. Complete shit. But the shoulder buttons are nice, though. It just fits on your hand and you can know you're touching it, unlike these. Like I said, this is more of a nitpick, and this is the only thing I hate about it, is these shoulder buttons are just so freaking tiny. I don't know. Sony could have made it a more better wraparound on the finger than fucking this. Of course, the trigger. Damn, the triggers are nice. Even a lot more nicer than on the Wii U's. Yeah. Yeah, to prove the point that I'm not a complete Nintendo fanboy, these triggers are okay, but this is just way nice. It just wraps around your finger nice. It's not a complete trigger like on the Xbox 360, but damn, I like it. Unlike these triggers on the classic control controller. I got the white one here too. And the reason why I got both the black and white ones is externally, these Wii U Classic Controller Pros, internally they are different. And you can tell by their colors. The black and white one have two different designs inside of them. You won't know until you take them apart, but they are completely different on the inside. They look the same on the outside until you pull out, until you pop up with their innards and find out they are completely different. I do like this though. Plus controller. Of course, at least it's not this honking piece of shit. I give this to my brother, but then he died and it comes back to me. Yay, I get this back. Well, the only thing nice about this is the shoulder buttons, but yeah, these are supposed to be trigger buttons. Yeah, it's a complete piece of shit. This thing was just complete garbage. Only got it because, if I wanted to play games on my old Controller Pro, this was the only way. Of course, then they made these, which is an improvement. And then Nintendo finally figured out how to put a controller together. But overall, this is a good controller. This is really good. It really feels nice. Has a few nitpicks here and there. And a headset jack, which really doesn't matter since the PlayStation 4 is a Bluetooth device. I don't care for this shoulder button, but that's a nitpick. It's not really anything to complain about. The flashlight, I don't know why that's important. And yeah, most people have forgotten a lot of things. Like how Sony went from these types of buttons to a cheaper set of buttons on the PlayStation 3 that nobody liked, and then went back to those buttons. Well, I don't know if they're in the exact diameter of the emplacements, but they do feel exactly the same on the fingers. I mean, seriously, they are exactly the same. But I have felt the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360's button. PlayStation 3's was just cheap and pathetic. Then again, the whole fucking console is pathetic. Yeah, I still hate the PlayStation 3. I can't believe Sony put that thing out there and then made you pay $600 for it. Just and then saying, "Oh, get a second job." Oh, you'll get a second job. We're confident you'll be willing to get a second job, and yeah, Sony, that really happened. A lot of people got second jobs, and you almost went at broke ass on it. And the texture back here is actually pretty nice, hard plastic. I don't know if you can hear that, but does feel nice. Ooh, yeah. Of course, I do have another little complaint. I don't know if you could see that, but it looks like a triangle, like an incomplete end. Kind of weird. Still a good controller. Never really cared for the whole head jack thing, and I still don't. External plug, which means we'll probably get a little keyboard down here, just like all others, but it's... Oh yeah, I do have one more complaint. I don't know if you could see it, but it's supposed to say like exit or something. You know, like for an external device or whatever. And the L2, L1 and L2 and R2 and R1. You can see it clearly on this video, but under certain other lights, you can't see shit. You just can't see shit on these. Sony, you could at least make a little white paint on there and paint the fucking letters on this. I mean, just like you did for this Sony wording. I mean, you painted that white, but nothing here. It's all black, and seriously. I mean, you got options, Sony, share, extra and head jack thing, no paint. Just, just leave it all black. God knows why. Yeah, and I like it. Sony going back to the old controllers. Not going with any fucking gimmicks or anything like that. I do like the Wii U control pad, but in the end, it's pretty much a straight up gimmick. Except for this one. I don't really see this going very far, this touchpad. It's nice, but yeah, all except for the touchpad. Sony just went back to the old controllers and made a controller for gamers. Said, fuck the gimmicks. I haven't heard I'm still hearing rumors on the Xbox One controllers, like the people having complaints with the shoulder buttons touching the shoulder and the triggers touching each other, and then, when you touch the trigger, a lot of times you're touching the shoulder button. And that's all I'm really hearing, but most of that's just rumor and conjecture because, well, there's just isn't one, and I probably won't have one in my hand. You could have at least painted this, Sony. Or at least painted the fucking triggers and the shoulder buttons. Put some white on there and let us know what the fuck is going on. At least make this a little wider, just like this. Because these are nice shoulder buttons on this Wii U controller. And yeah, the Xbox 360 has the same type shoulder buttons, and it's just really nice. Of course, the Xbox 360 also has better triggers. These triggers aren't bad. I mean, it's not this bad. Nowhere near that bad. But, yeah, these are nice triggers. Nice. Really good triggers. It's an improvement. Sony, you really outdone yourself with this. That's all.